Hopefully.
You're just getting more popular.
Yeah. Are we up? Is it 100% increase? 200% increase.
Eliminate.
Take, we're up.
We're good? All righty, we'll call this one to order, please. 1.1, Public Works Municipal Superintendent. That's you guys. How may we help you?
I believe we were asked to present a capital update for 2020 and potentially touch a little bit on 2021. So the spreadsheet in front of you kind of goes over some of the capital items from our department. The arena floor repairs, I do apologize, we don't have any updated budget numbers because there was an increase that was approved to do a greater scope of the work, so forgive that number there. That's been completed. The Civic Center boiler, as you can feel in here, it's nice and hot. We do have some thermostats that need to be changed out still. And so we believe, so year to date, we've only been billed for $266,000. I believe that number is going to climb to somewhere around 470, I believe was the number. 370. So Graham's correct me, sorry. Library annex bathrooms, it's an ongoing project. We're working with the insurance company. They have a contractor looking at it coming up here in the next few months, hopefully, but to be optimistic, but we're anticipating beginning of 2021 to have that complete. The library annex carpet was completed under budget. The library annex gate was completed under budget as well. The Public Works single axle dump trailer that we bought, dump truck we bought, was under budget as well, slightly. That's the transformer, as we like to call it, has the sander, flat deck, and different attachments with it, and the plow, which has been put to good use, especially today and last night. The water treatment plant maintenance procedure manual, the guys have been using it, working with it. There is some kinks that we still have to work out, so we'll call that ongoing, but that item is basically completed.
Can we ask questions?
Yeah.
So with the carry forwards from 2019, maybe just refresh my memory, what's the hold up on the bathroom? If it's been on the books since 2019?
It was, the bathroom was an insurance claim originally, I think it was.
In the annex?
Yeah, so originally we had planned to do a bathroom. There was a flood insurance claim in the basement where the bathroom was located. As a part of that deal we made with the insurance company, they were going to pay the contractor to do it for us. And so that's what's directed out, so.
And we had a second flood in the same spot, which is what forced us to look at moving them elsewhere. So it's gotten a little more intricate than originally anticipated.
The delay is unfortunate, but the cost will be better because we're not going for anything.
So those are the carry forwards. So some of the new items that came up this year, we replaced the drafting printer under budget. The arena chiller was something we're still.
Was that in the budget for 2020?
Which ones?
The drafting printer?
It was, yeah.
The arena chiller, that's something that is not completed yet. We're trying to hope to get that tender out before the end of the year to get that started. But that's something Chris and I will be working on over the next month or two to try, but likely will be carried over till next year. Some of the studies we wanted to do for waste collection and the expansion, those are currently in carryover phase. There is some work we can start to do this year on it. I know this is something important to council, so it's something that we're going to keep going on. The expansion and feasibility study, obviously, we look for direction from council because of the continued efforts towards a regional waste disposal ground. And I know there's been some discussions on that, so we look for direction on council if we want to keep moving with that. We can touch on that later.
So the study, is it just there's nobody out there to do them, or?
We hit a few roadblocks along the way in terms of the best way to move forward with this.
Roadblocks with getting somebody to do this?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because when we first started, we got kind of, the COVID was hitting and everything kind of got twisted up. And then our focus basically predominantly this summer has been on the paving program. It's taken up quite a bit of our time, so it's kind of slowed our progress on a few key items. Which is the next one, which is the asphalt renewal. We came in about 1.4 million plus tax. There are some additional dollars in there that haven't been accounted for yet through the manpower and material for some of the concrete work that was done as well. But we're still going to be low with the budget there.
Do you capture your own internal labor under capital?
That's what he's talking
Yeah, what's the benefit of doing that for a municipality?
about. If it was work we wouldn't have necessarily done, the concrete materials we probably would have purchased. So I would capture those.
Well, the
labor
materials,
probably
the
not.
materials I could see, but the labor though.
Yeah, the labor probably not. We do need to include Bruce Regan's invoice.
Yeah, got that.
And any other stuff that would have been on top.
There was one term employee that was hired specifically for some of the concrete work, a little bit ahead of when we normally would have hired some term people, so we can rectify that.
There's not a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's normal.
Yeah, it's not more or less. Pool dehumidifier engineering study. We've been trying to work with the AJs on that to see if we can get them to do an assessment of the building to avoid. Councillor Murphy would rather do himself, I think, for us.
Oh, I'll find somebody there. Oh, no, I shouldn't, sorry. I can provide you recommendations.
We'd love that, yeah, we just want to have a look.
Chat later.
We've spoken to some of the staff there, and there's some interesting stuff that was done with the ductwork at some point in the past that we're not understanding why it was done, so we feel like that might play a heavy role. So instead of spending all the money on an engineering study, we feel like there's other avenues we can explore first, maybe more cost-effective ways to deal with those issues there. Public Works motor tires, we're just waiting on delivery of one part of it, so I don't have the total numbers there, but there was an invoice, I believe, that you guys just approved this evening that was probably the last piece of that puzzle. We're just waiting on delivery. Utility system assessment, that's likely going to be carried over. We are going to work on that a little bit though before the end of the year to see if we can get that out. We may even work in concert with Waygo Consulting on, or sorry, that's the utility. Meter reading and hardware and software upgrades, that will be incomplete for this year and will also be carried over until next year. Utility sewer line investigation and cleaning, it's not something we were able to complete this year. The crew has done a great job in sewer jetting all the problem areas. We provided a bunch of overtime in order to get the big clean that gets basically the entire town, so we're sitting in a good position going into the winter months. We made a quick list of a few things for 2021. Obviously, there's might be something missing in here that is close to our hearts. So 3 passenger trucks, we're in desperate need of new passenger vehicles. The trucks we have are getting old. There's a few of them that potentially will not be safety by next year. So we are running really thin in our vehicle department. We need a new gravel box for one of our tandems. Again, it's been rusted out. It's, takes a lot of damage, so we have one of those on there. The crew had talked to us about a gate for our loader. So that's the same idea as like the wing on the grader. So as you go, you can kind of wing people's driveways and walkways that they've cleared. This would allow the loader to do the same thing, so we can send them in separate directions and get a lot more work done. It's not a bad idea, and the cost makes sense. The crew would be, it would probably stop a lot of angry phone calls coming to the office as well. So it's a worthwhile option. So this was something, again, the garbage collection bins and the bin tippers. So something Chris had been doing some research on is a retrofit that can potentially go on our existing garbage truck, so that you would roll the rollout bin to this device and it would tip it for you on the back of your truck, so you don't have to buy an entirely new vehicle. We'd have to explore more into the options of how it would work in tandem with our vehicle, but what we've seen is that it is retrofit that it could work without having to buy an entirely new truck. But we have to do a little more investigation in terms of refining those costs. So.
How old we are on the truck now? We bought it in 2012, so about 8 years now.
It's getting here.
That's good. It's not something like that.
How many kilometers is the garbage truck around a week or a day? About
And a day, you need
only a couple hundred.
I mean, I drive the whole town.
Mm-hmm.
say maybe 100.
Kilometers,
Eh?
100 kilometers.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of kilometers.
It does have to do.
It's a little idling speeds.
And one of the other issues with this garbage collection bin tipper obviously is, I mean, there's gonna be an operating cost, right? So in comparison to doing a retrofit to a whole new, a unit that does the whole thing and reduce staffing potentially in a unit like that, so, I mean, long term, you gotta look at the operating cost too and see where the balance is.
The last item, we had this kind of on our 10-year capital plan was discussions of taking another infrastructure project and making it shovel-ready for, future down the line when we do have some dollars available. We haven't put too many things on the 2021, and there are a few carryover items. We did spend a lot of money this year out of our reserves. So we'll have to sit down and kind of review where we're at and what is feasible for next year. And we do have some large infrastructure spends on the horizon with the lagoon and the potential for landfill. So we kind of left it at that for now. It'd be nice to get a skid steer perhaps as well. However, we didn't want to push our luck here this evening, I guess.
It's been a pretty spendy year, and it's gonna be another spendy year next year with the lagoon. That being said, I think we should still consider an infrastructure engineering study of some kind. Whatever we identify as one of the worst areas with the best benefit for our money. The reason being, the government occasionally puts out these shovel-ready applications for funding. The right project, if we had it ready, could just put us into that slot to get that 2/3 funding. So I think we should always have something kind of sitting on the shelf ready to go. We've got a lot of infrastructure that's really old and in dire need of attention. So I'm sure we can all think of a few streets that the streets and the underlying plumbing and is in dire need of attention. So
If we're looking for picking names for suggestions, Bagshaw and Reader don't mind so far.
Big Mills come up to Constant Avenue by the school has been really bad the last couple of years, and it's connected to the police station. That's a railroad one on the list.
Bagshaw and Reader are
Yeah.
terrible. They'd be better off with gravel in the streets. These would be level.
It's been talked
Almost
about.
that way.
Well, there's lots of other infrastructure problems with Bagshaw and Reader because of the infrastructure that they put in for the water and sewer, right?
There's some ground condition issues that could cascade into
Horrendous dollars.
if we thought the roads was a little bit pricey, I think Bagshaw and Bagshaw Place would surpass potentially that cost.
Didn't Manitoba Housing develop those streets? Any warranty, we can go back on them for.
I think that's worth a try.
Yeah.
It was code of the day, I think, is what they would argue potentially. Yeah, we haven't had to do too many bids in the Bagshaw Rear area. Like this year's been pretty quiet. As Graham mentioned, Constant. I mean, it's a terrible pun, but like we spend a lot of time. We're down there every year, a couple times a year. The lift station there, which is basically the entire south side of the community on the west side of the tracks, all bottlenecks through there. So there's a lot of residents affected by that area as well. There's a lot of underground infrastructure that's very old and dated.
Must be almost 100 years old now.
And it's been added on to a few times. It's fair, so there's a lot of things going on there. But like the mayor said, there's a pretty good case for the Bagshaw area as well. So it's gonna be a tough call if we make a call. But I think Graham's point is good that it's nice to have something on the shelf ready to go when we get to that point for funding.
So you never did an engineering study on Bingo Lake?
All we've done is preliminary feasibility studies, televising the sewers and the storm sewers. And
Yeah, we did a infrastructure renewal feasibility study back in 2012, and it assessed like 6 or 7 half-dozen-ish locations. And from what I remember, I think Settee and Big Laura on there.
Laura was
Bagshaw was definitely on there. I was high, frankly, There's a few other projects I can't say. They're all planned.
So you would have to do that same study kind of over on Foxton or even.
Yeah, but then you go to the engineering design, preliminary design, just to study it, yeah.
Hogan must fall in there pretty close to some of them too.
I believe Hogan was on the list as
It
well.
seems like it's been dug up at the end of every dig, at the start of another one, throughout the years.
It only costs about $1,500 a month.
The COVID rates, I'm sure, are
Yeah,
a different animal right now, I'm sure.
Prior to our election, the Manitoba Housing was discussing a new subdivision over by UCN. Did any ever come of that?
Well, they came forward and there was discussion regarding our capacity to develop, I think it was 24 acres they were looking to potentially develop with our lagoon. So I think they were kind of waiting to see how we were moving forward. So it'd be nice to see if them back at the table, but we have not heard from them since then.
Would it be worth touching base, let them know that you can toss it to us?
I don't think that would be out of line, no.
This might be something we could bring Jack from the CDC in on as well. It's really down her alley.
Yeah, I think, just like I said once before, even though it's crazy talk for today, but if we were to develop a new residential subdivision, it's probably 10 years out. Right, but sooner or later, somebody has to start planning.
Yeah.
The money you've allocated there for the expansion for the disposal ground, the 120, so is that even like a reality of wanting to expand, or is that, I mean, I know that's why you do the studies, but is it, in terms of projects that you're really looking at, kind of really going and doing, is ours, because I know you've talked before that, and other people come to look at the dump,
Yeah,
we're kind of done, but are we, or is that?
well, they've in terms of the lifespan, you know, we can still make this work for, you know, however long we need to make it work. In terms of the expansion of the existing site, there are some encroachment issues that that are realities based on proximities to bodies of water, airports, residential housing, that may be a factor in the decision at the provincial level.
So then I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at, though, like, if there's other things, is there anything we can do rather than spending 120 on the site or the study to get rid of, remove, or do what we have without expanding, that'll give us another 5 years or 3 years?
There are some technologies in terms of like landfill, I can't think of the term, but it's like landfill mining, where you bring a trommel up and then you run the garbage through it and it shreds it and then makes it, you know, you get more compaction from it that way. But there's also pitfalls potentially if you open something up that you were not aware of. Now it's your may need to deal with. So there are things we can do if we get into a tight pinch. They're all going to be very expensive to do.
No, for sure, I'm just like, at the 120, that's, I mean, it's not tons of money, but it is a significant amount. I'd rather just not spend it on a feasibility study that then all of a sudden we're expanding and they can say, oh yeah, by the way, you need this, oh, you need this $1 million piece over here, you need this. I think we know it's gonna be expensive, it'll be $120,000 for someone to tell us we know it's gonna be. So I'd rather, I don't know, that's just my thoughts, but if it's gonna be something that.
Just to clarify,
It's a lot of money for a study.
it is a lot of money for the study, I just wanted to clarify that too, is that the 120,000 would be it would cost probably around that much if the idea was that we could expand it and continue. And that would be, you know, provisions for them to do geotechnical studies and whatnot. So I wouldn't put it out there that we're just gonna spend 120,000 definitely right off the bat. Probably looking more, if you weren't sure that we could or couldn't expand, probably looking more like 30, 40. That's when they go in and they can actually assess the location, what our land allocation is as well, and see whether or not it's actually feasible. And then at that point, we can continue, and of course, then you're adding more to the program, which costs goes up on that as well, right? So,
Yeah, like some of that, even land clearing to find our, like, survey monuments, yeah, there's a bunch of costs that are borne, that's just not just like.
and it would, yeah, obviously, that.
So in the expansion, like the people, but would you think that maybe just a different piece of equipment would be required in there, like a super shredder that, or garbage truck or vacuum to dump, shred the stuff back on, but also being that it would be like the one that would crush the concrete and everything else, like a multi-use.
Yeah.
And it's not a machine that we have to really purchase, we can lease them over time. So we just pay a lease fee each year. Something just to consider. Like,
Yeah, we can definitely look at equipment options out there as well.
Because if you take like 25 cubic yards of garbage in a truck and dump it into a shredder, it comes down to just a small amount where people, and then if that shredder or that machine is big enough to do the concrete, then you can start using the concrete to cap all the material. And I'm sure those machines are out there to lease.
I mean, we could look at all those options if we can expand, but I think the reality is, unless we can expand, there's not much room for anything else to happen. We're just gonna carry on as done until it's dead. If the expansion's possible, then you can start looking at all those options. Something obviously you've said in those meetings with, on the regional one, some of the costs associated, they did the research, they did the study already in terms of compaction versus non-compaction. It wasn't a huge difference in the costing. I think the truth is if we have room to expand, and it's a feasible option, then we can have all these discussions. If it's not, then we're really just playing for time until the next one's available.
So for, I don't know, how many years, before we came along, the town had been part of the group with the RM and OCN about a regional landfill, right? You guys talked about this way before we arrived. So at the whim of the chief and OCN, they basically threw that whole three-party agreement aside. They just basically said, we're not doing that, there's no more advisory board, no more governance board, it's our dump. You guys want to use it, we're going to charge you. That's the condensed version. We sent letters off to ISK to find out if that's an accurate version. Did we ever hear back from ISK?
I didn't hear back from ISK, but they did have another meeting where they
didn't show up.
Yeah, well, just their representative,
Yeah.
which wasn't a council member, did.
Yeah.
And his view was that they were proceeding as per they're the sole owner.
To my, unless somebody knows better than me, I don't think they've started any construction yet. No. Not that I'm aware of. Now winter's here, so I can't see it happening.
There was some discussion about a letter of support from the town and the RM, but they never did make contact with us. It was just verbal, so we asked for them to ask us, and they did not.
And was ISK is Indigenous Services Canada, was ISK involved in the discussions when all this was going on prior to? Were they involved? Or was it always just the three municipalities?
ISK was involved prior, when there was the three bodies involved, yes. They helped us hire the engineering design team that started the design process. ISK was a part of that entire process, yes.
So should we send one more letter to ISK to find out if this thing is dead or not dead? You know? Politics be what it is, I would hope the federal government is a little more stable in their view at certain times, on certain things.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
That's my worry is that we're looking to get an expansion, and this project's still alive, and we're gonna expand ours, and they're looking to take our garbage to meet their, be feasible for them. What government group would give us an expansion and let that happen, when there's a dump, just a brand new one gonna be made potentially in the next while? And really, I'm sure the Environment Canada would have us. That's the whole point of it, right, is to get rid of these dump here and dump here and dump there. So I can see them saying, sorry guys, I don't care if you do this, this, and this, there's a beautiful dump right there, we'll use it. I don't know, that's just my take on it. And
Well, at tri-council, they talked about this, and John McKenzie was there. And he said that they would like to start bulldozing during the land this year when it's frozen. But there's lots of questions come up as to all the permits that are gonna be required. For, like, are the permits asked, or are the permits, like, is all this stuff in place? So it could be
Years.
5 years before all the permits are in place or whatever, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to ask, because when that gentleman came who was negotiating, I can't remember his name, he was saying part of the plan was, I mean, all these small communities were getting trucks, they were getting places to store their garbage, while it's skipping towards getting trucks, like, this is not like a small project, this is a massive capital job, and then who coordinates all that?
I don't want to kill this conversation, but considering its sensitivity, perhaps this is the best.
That's why it needs to be public.
Yeah, okay.
That's why it needs to
I
be.
worry that you might be
No.
jeopardizing the current deal.
No, there's nothing I would say about this issue in private that I wouldn't say in public. OCN, especially, the way they treated us was with complete disrespect. And I'm not the only one who said that. So for this to move forward, it's even like when we have these tri-council meetings. I was there, the Reeve was there, there wasn't a single elected official there from OCN. That's not respectful. If you want to have a good meeting, then you need to be there in good faith. If the senior staff, if you folks want to have a meeting with Jerry and you guys and John, whatever his name is, that's fine, that's absolutely fine. But when it's a tri-council meeting and you're expecting elected leadership to be there, elected leadership needs to be there. And some people may find that offensive, sensitive, given everything else that's going on, but that's just not the way it is. And I don't have any issue saying that publicly or privately.
No, that wasn't the angle I was going to.
Oh, but that's my angle.
No, I was going to make mention that this is provincial land that
Oh.
they're asking for, which is a,
Oh. There's so many
A very
hurdles on
different
this
animal.
issue yet, it's amazing.
I think we have better claim on the land than they do.
So, anyways, I would suggest that we send one more letter to ISC, since they were involved in the discussion. Is this dead or not? And if it is dead, then we have to make our new future.
Sorry, dead in which way?
Not gonna happen, right? Because even the last thing that John said at the meeting was they were gonna start this fall, but to the best of my knowledge, they've started now.
It's okay. I'll
Cool, anything else you guys want to share with us right now? Because we got a planning meeting next week where we get to talk about it one more time.
My only comment about this thing here, though, it'd be nice to put this as communication out on the website of all the good things you guys did this year. I know that I've said it a few times, and I'm gonna keep saying it, maybe one day somebody will agree with me, but when you guys do a bunch of good work, just like all the roads that you plowed today and yesterday, and the miles that the guys put on, you really should talk about that, because the guys are doing a great job, and nobody talks about the good stuff. Everybody always talks about the one driveway you missed, right? So, thanks to the guys, but also, a lot of good work down here this summer, and you should put it out there, what was done, and what's planning coming up.
I would agree with you. Good job on the snowplow.
Yeah, we let the guys know that a lot of people were supportive of their hard work, late hours they put in last night and this morning, and we tried to do some Facebook posts like with the arena flooring, and a few delays kind of killed the buzz that we were kind of going with, but yeah, we need to do a better job kind of promoting ourselves, I agree.
So I took pictures of your sidewalk there going out at, I don't know what time it was, the one went by, I snapped the picture, got a picture of the second one going by, threw it on Facebook, said, way to go guys, out clearing this over the community, and a few people responded to it. But you're right, Andre, like, I mean, I also gave a guy a ride just before the meeting tonight that was going to shovel somebody's driveway, and I gave him a ride to the place, and I'm looking at all these streets and sidewalks that are clean, and his comment was, my mom's truck got blocked in because the plow went by, and now she can't get her truck out, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, but look at the streets, man. The streets are all clean, the sidewalks are clean. it's not their fault that you're not going out and shoveling your mom's side driveway, you're going to shovel someone else's.
No, the guys,
People need
they
to
worked their
know
butt
it's-
off, so yeah, no,
Yeah.
big props to the crew for sure.
Cool. Anything else for these guys? No? All
I have
right.
a question. Hello?
Yeah, go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
Hi. Sorry, Chris, by chance, did you send out documentation at the table tonight for people to look at?
We actually had a couple extra copies printed for you guys, yes. Would you like us to email it to you, Carrie?
Yes, please.
Okay.
My call dropped twice, so I'm not sure what I missed out on. I tried to find it on AllNet, but I don't think it's in there. I only have one question, and it's in regards to the bathroom. I don't know if you guys spoke about the bathroom at the library or not, but if you did, that possibly could have been when my call dropped.
There was some discussion about the insurance companies.
Yeah, so Carrie, we have a company that's gonna come up and look at, through the insurance company, they're gonna come and look at the bathroom setup, and we're hoping at the beginning of 2021 to have that complete for sure.
Thank you.
Well,
That's all.
You're gonna need to hand move the snow?
I have a driveway to go shovel when I get home.
All right, that's it for you guys?
Before these guys go, we had talked about the snow clearing policies and emergency plan. I don't know if we want to talk about this in camera afterwards and keep these guys around, or if we're all good with kind of what's going on and I can let them go.
Generally, I think we're okay.
No, my question was really around, we got this notice from, it's the first time I've ever seen one. Hey?
It's the first time I've seen one.
Yeah, so first time I seen it about all the snow coming, and then so my thought was I assumed that we had something, but I had to ask because I don't know, right? And I couldn't find anything on all that I looked and I can't find. half the
You weren't
stuff.
the only one to ask. There was a few other questions and comments, so I just, if we wanted to talk about it, I mean, they would play a key role in that discussion, that's all. If we're okay for now and want to discuss it at a high level, we can do that too, and they don't need to hang around. Just keep them for no reason.
Yeah, well, I think it's good.
Anybody need any more help?
We're gonna start lifting the downtown snow before the end of the week. As you can see, downtown is quite bottlenecked. So,
Sorry.
no, it is.
Yeah, you're right.
It is what it is, so we're gonna be, the guys are gonna try to lift, hopefully before the end of the week, so there'll be some overtime that will be required in order to do that in the morning, so.
It's like we had more snow now than we had all last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely an incredible volume, that's for sure,
I
yeah.
never ever had a 5-foot drift in front of the pool, they got a 5-foot drift. It's actually better than that, that's all they mean.
And it's the last 3 feet.
Just a crazy, crazy question. If this becomes the new normal, what would the town need to be able to adequately deal with this? Anything, or you're good to go?
There's a large snow blower attachment that we can buy for the loader. We've seen it used in other communities as well. They push all the snow to the middle and they run the snow blower off the loader and it just sort of loads trucks. The only thing, and our guys always remind us of this, is that snow will stick into the back of all the boxes of those trucks because of the way you're compacting it in. So you'll need another operator sitting at the snow dump, and every truck that dumps, he's got to scrape it out, and so it does slow us down. People have asked about potentially looking at like renting a semi when we do downtown or something like that to speed it up. The mobility of a semi to get around town, especially on any side street, would be impossible. As well, loading the semi would be very challenging. That's why the town historically has purchased the 10 axles.
So when you have a downfall like this, it's just something that comes from southern Manitoba. They never plow to the inside. They always plow to the center. Like, and you just have your 2 lanes, that's all.
Yeah.
And it kind of stops, it still allows kind of your parking and stuff like that. Did you ever consider trying that someplace, or?
When they were doing the snow removal, they do move it to the middle before they start removing it. I don't know the answer to that question. Since I've been here, we've never done it that way. I know that's not a good answer, but.
Well, no, that's what happens. No, in southern Manitoba, it generally happens because most communities don't have equipment, so they contract the Department of Highways to come in. Highways just come in with a couple of graders to plow it all to the center. blower comes in, they contract 5 or 10 tandems from all over. Within a couple hours, they're gone.
Yeah, one of the difficulties we see in this community is the moment of our greatest need is the moment of everybody's greatest need. So
Yeah,
in some preliminary discussions with other outfits in case, let's say our grader broke down, right? We wanted to make sure we had an option. It's like, well, we're swamped, we're buried, I'm up to my, wet in snow, and so grader not available, so,
Have you ever priced out that snowblower?
we have not, no.
they work.
I'm just curious, is it 50 grand, something like that?
It's closer to 100.
100 grand? Yeah.
It's one of those machines that work when you need it.
Should look at it.
We need two, huh?
Not one of the, not like the farm one, only has one single locker.
It's a dual locker.
Dual locker.
Yeah, we can add it to our,
Three-stage. Three, huh?
Could you
Three-stage.
add it into ACAP and base it out of the book?
we'll have to talk
Yeah,
to
they
Tim.
have an old snow blower out there that we could probably use.
Alright, cool, thank you guys.
Yep,
Thank you
keep
for
up
your
your
time.
work, you're doing a good job.
We'll definitely pass it along to the crews, yeah, they would appreciate hearing that.
Jump under their truck and grab a shovel to help somebody, that they're community minded.
Oh, you saw me today, that's awesome. It was me, don't was it? Yeah. I always carry a shovel in the winter just because of stuff. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Alright, 4.1, bursary request. Shouldn't that be referred to budget?
It doesn't have to be, we can talk about it now, and I can just include it in the budget. Really, I mean, we've given out these bursaries in the past, they're asking for a little bit different one. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. Typically, our bursaries have been really well received. And I'm not one that likes to give away money rather than, spend it on something useful, but this is, it's a nice community-minded thing to do.
I would send it to budget.
Well, again, and I can, it's just, it would be out of the norm. They sent it in now, so it was fresh.
Thoughts?
I don't know, I would need another too.
It's not significant, like, it's not a,
What is it, why is it not, like, I don't get it though, why would we deal with it now and not?
most of the other bursaries have just been ongoing forever. It's just a static item. You're not gonna see the effect of a $500 grant or $1,000 grant on the budget in terms of, mill rate, it's gonna be so insignificant. I can carry it for the budget. It was just a piece of correspondence received from the school, and so I should be presenting that to you guys either way.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the amount of doing it, it just was the process of doing it, that's all.
Well, if you approve it, I'll put it in the budget. If you wanted me to carry it to budget for approval, I'll do that. That's okay too. The reason why we might want to approve it here is if you want it to be an ongoing item instead of an annual item.
I agree with that.
So when all those other bursaries, where does that show up on the budget, not grants to organizations?
Grants, well, it comes out of grants on our budget, but it's in there. I think it's $6,500 right now a year. It's fairly known.
What grades?
I would support moving it forward now.
What grade is that?
It'd be grade 12, it's very Duncan.
Very good, grade 12.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not Kelsey Island.
Oh.
Trevor?
No, it's separate, but I mean, putting in perspective, they may or may not have anybody at that school granting for a potential year. So last year, there were 2 individuals that graduated from Mary Duncan that attended MECNS grant. The year before, I'm not sure if anybody did. So it could be a year-by-year basis that you could have somebody graduating from that school.
KLC's been the same.
Yeah.
Not every year do we write that grant.
So right now, like Mary Duncan is they have anybody from middle school to graduate. So,
I did so.
yeah, it's a mixed bag. The Kelsey learning now is not easy to see.
So how many students at Mary Duncan?
74, 75, but that's encompassing grades like 6 to 12.
And pardon my ignorance, but why high school at Mary Duncan as opposed to NBCI? I don't
It
know.
offers an alternative type setting for many reasons, from anxiety, depression, alternative learning formats. Could just be we have some students who have, not all negative ones, could be they were homeschooled for right up until grade, say 10, but now it was easier going to a school with 75 people or 500. So they find that, so there's a multitude of different reasons why they may attend school. And again, 75 people from grade 6 to 12. You're not dealing with a tremendous number of people there. It's, the numbers are small.
Oh, thank you, I didn't realize that, I thought it was like grade 6 or something, right? I
Yeah.
didn't realize it, because we give money now to NBCI, to adult one, and to, we do something for UCN too, I think, don't we?
Nursing program.
Yeah, the nursing program.
Yeah.
So I guess if we're gonna treat them all the same, then we should support them. I didn't realize that. But anyways, it should still go to budget, but I think we should support them. You guys still there on the phone?
Yes, I said, I think maybe 5 minutes ago, I would support it moving forward today rather than waiting for budget.
Chad?
Yeah, I'm fine either way. It's not something that's going to be handed out till June anyway, so if we raise the budget, it's not the end of it, but I'm definitely in support of it.
So we're probably gonna support it. We'll do
Matching to the KLC one, which is basically
$500.
500. Seems like it's about on par. Okay.
Alrighty, 4.2, Councilor Murphy.
Yeah, I put this in just as a discussion point. So when it comes to around the communication around COVID-19 and the plans, like how I feel about it is like I really don't have a good feeling on what the town is actually doing with regards to managing COVID. And I think it really triggered me, Mayor, when I seen a few of the emails come out from you guys having meetings and stuff like that. Like, because I didn't really realize, I don't even know what we were doing or what we are doing. And then also, it kind of made me think about, you know, like, I'm not even really 100% sure what we are doing even to protect our own employees. And I thought, well, do we need to put more, do we need to, kind of like what we were telling these guys, do we need to put more information out on what's actually happening, like what the town is actually doing? And I know we're followed by the province, but even if we spun around some of the province's communication and put it out on our website or our Facebook, those type of things. Because I feel like, you as mayor, Herb, I mean, you've got a huge load to carry, and you're probably carrying so much information and workload because of it, and you have other councilors and, well, myself, maybe not others, but like, I don't really know what's going on, because I'm not doing really anything with regards to COVID for the town, and I couldn't, if somebody asked me what the town's doing as an elected official, I couldn't really say, like, I know we're doing something, but I don't have any information. I guess that's all I wanted to bring forward.
I mean, I can answer some of that. So, we don't have much more information than you do. I don't think you can say we've done nothing. Obviously, we've released those procedures for employees. We made sure that it was circulated to the managers and the employees all had a chance to know what they should be doing to protect themselves, and that was just recently done. We do update the website for all the the major orders, so when we do orange, we
Yeah.
find all the links. I think where we fall short, from a casual observer standpoint is when we're compared to the First Nation communities. Now, they have their own dashboards with a lot more information that we just don't get. That's an arrangement they have to for them, that we just don't get access to that. All we're doing is we're reporting provincial information. There has been some meetings, I don't know if I can talk about this, but there has been some meetings scheduled weekly by the NRHA and some of the other communities. It's just more of a quick information session from the NRHA on some of the numbers they're seeing and some of the occupancy of their hospitals, and then just a Q&A with whoever was there at the time. On the whole, I don't know that it's provided any more information than what we have. I don't mind taking notes for those and circulating them. I don't know that I would put that on the website. I feel like that's the way they've kind of indicated these calls, and this is kind of like this is for you to know to manage but not to share.
Is there a way, I don't want to be providing more work for managers or whatever, but like, I don't know, I'll say from a school's perspective, like we are made to do it whether we wanted to or not. So like for the wellness center, is that an example? So we asked the manager, I want you to list down, give them the same kind of format. What are you doing for employees? This is what they do at the end of the facility. Everyone's asked the question, blah, blah, blah. This is what we do for the patrons. This is what we do in our daily cleaning. I know some of the stuff will be repetitive, and then like throw it out there to the community to kind of advertise the things that we're doing in just one facility. The same thing for the rink, same thing for, what's Sam doing for his guys, and, they're wearing masks in vehicles. I don't know, just to kind of, because it does, and I know, again, like Andre, we're doing lots of things, but if you don't talk about them, then, and no one's listening, other than our 4 viewers on all that, it seems like we're not we're doing anything, I don't know, and maybe some other things we can get out there. I'm not saying we have to have a dashboard, or the mayor needs to go on Facebook every day to repeat what Dr. Bertson says for a number of people. But getting things out there, because I know a lot of the things that are on other Facebook pages are just the exact same thing, repeat things. I don't want those, but, and maybe where we don't need any, I don't know, I'm just.
Well, I guess, I don't know if the schools do it, but my concern with, it'd be okay to release some of that information internally to our staff, to give them a sense of comfort or with what's going on. But what if we were to get too detailed in our explanations of what we're doing for COVID, potentially we're opening ourselves up for criticism as well in terms of what we're doing. And finding flaws, we certainly could do it.
I don't think people will find flaws, and I think people might ask some questions, and I think and even some of your own staff, once it's written down on paper, no different than the document that I did, I was like, oh God, thanks for showing me that. That is right. Like, I got a little conflict there with this part and this part, and then you change it, because I'm sure a lot of the documents that you've already done, especially if you're going from orange to red or yellow to orange, whatever, things are going to change. So I don't want to be putting on all this work, and maybe it wouldn't be, and that's, I get into my other link point to this, is that if there are employees that are obviously currently not working at the facilities, is there someone that's able to put together some of these things to either enter things that are on AllNet to get it out there, or produce a document that can be, I don't know, thrown out to anybody, or...
But again, are we talking about something we're going to have internally for our staff and working group, or is this something that we're producing on our website for the public's consumption? These are completely different things to me. I think one of them is much more easy to manage than the other.
But I kind of disagree. I think that unless there's very detailed things about what I'm asking worker X to do, then you don't have to. But what's wrong with sharing your plan for your health plan for your employees to the entire town? What's so private about?
Would the school do that?
We already did.
No, you did. I would love to see it.
That's what we've done.
I would love to see it.
We have our basically how we're going to make the school and for the students and staff, be in cohorts, be in mass, be in
I think we're talking about
sanitized,
two
be in.
different things. I know what you're asking for. If that's kind of, if you're looking for like a, you know, a generic, this is our operating plan, we can probably do something like that.
Like our workers' social distance.
Yeah.
And if they're not, are they masked? Are they forced to be masked? Are they given masks?
Yeah, we could probably do
Are
something like
they-
that. I know what you're getting at, sir. I think I misunderstood what you were getting after at the beginning. I'm just processing it a little bit better now. Yeah, we could definitely do something like that. I mean, it would probably be like a modified version of the policy we created with a little more detail in some areas and all loss in others. And,
Even like services we offer, like, you know, like getting it out there, you know, due to COVID-19, we won't be, not gonna be knocking on your door to ask for a meter read. I don't know, like, therefore we ask for, make people to make appointments to get the thing installed. And as soon as we, COVID-19 is at a later date, we'll come into your house and do it. Or, I don't know, like other things that we cannot do because of COVID-19 that we normally do. And, you know, like the recycling center sent out a thing saying no drop-offs due to COVID-19. And I don't know, just, yeah. Like I can show you a copy of what we did up for the schools. Maybe some of it might be relevant as to things to share. I know it's completely different organizations, but anyway.
I just used it.
Hi.
Sorry.
I have a comment in regards to this. What I'm hearing is from the community is that they're not disappointed in the information that is being shared, but it's the way that the information is being presented. I think that they're looking for, and this has just been a couple people who have commented this way. When we're doing a Facebook post on our community page, it's a generic Facebook post, which is because generally that's how people post to Facebook. But what some people are looking for is like unofficial letterhead, so that it seems like it's officially coming from the town.
But if it's on the
Not
town's,
the actual information that is being presented, but the way that it's being presented.
but isn't being on the town's Facebook page good enough?
For some, yes, for some, no.
No one else can post on it except us.
Yeah, like it's our site.
We'll release whatever you guys want in terms of release. This is small stuff, indifference.
Well, I guess because it's such a hot topic, I guess more noise out there that it looks like it's more active, that's all. You know, like, what's the messaging? That's all I'm saying. And again, if there's things that Herb is pulling a big load of work and, or attending meetings and, you know, if there's assistance required, like, I don't know anything about that stuff. Right, and I mean, Herb's probably fine with it too, like, we're just saying, if we need to get help, or we need to, well, let's, so we can talk about it.
Well, I mean, obviously, the big one was the homeless shelter. I know that's coming up for discussion.
Yeah,
Um,
anyways, that's all I was bringing.
I don't mind doing that. I'd like to see yours. I would love to see it. I don't mind preparing something like that for information to add a little bit more to what we have out there. Yeah. If you think of anything you really want to see on there, let me know. Like, we're always.
Well, I think, you know, the municipality thing that you get, that should go up. Just post it.
Oh, the A&M update?
Yeah.
Like we got built today or something?
Yeah, just post that stuff.
And the other one, like someone had mentioned to me, is a good point, and I'm not, they actually asked me what the plan was, not that I should have access to the particular plan, but what if one of the water treatment plant guys got COVID? And then he's hanging out with the other treatment guy, so he's gotta go and self-isolate for 14 days. Like, I don't know, like, and they said, who's gonna do it? I was like, I don't know. Do we have some, it's kinda like the snow clearing, right? Like, do we have, is there X, Y, and Z persons there that are able to come in and fill in our water treatment plant? Is it not a big deal? Because it doesn't matter, we got 3 level 1s. So we would have to go through these guys first. Like, I don't know, like, so when you're thinking about your main, like, get down to the bare bones of it, like without water, like, you can't function. So is there a plan there to take care of that? I don't know.
There is, and we do have some extra capacity. And I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I would worry that, obviously we are a small enterprise still. In specific individuals with special skill sets, there isn't a lot of replacements in town. And I don't want to cause panics, right? I don't want to cause panics by saying, if 3 guys get sick, we won't have water.
No, but
And that's not what I'm saying,
No.
obviously, I'm not saying.
But what I'm thinking is, and again, I've done a lot of work, like for say this week, it almost could be like, your weekly newsletter, like the town of the Paw has prepared, and to ensure that there's safe drinking water for everyone in the town. This is our COVID-19 plan for the water treatment plant. And then just kind of advertise what our water treatment plant plan is to, again, I'm not expecting a document of 50 pages, that could be like on 1 page, just a few sentences. This is kind of our plan if one individual happens to be positive on it. And the next week, we could have something else. The town of the Paw provides masks for all of its employees. And we ensure social distancing. If you're in a truck, you don't have to wear a mask at all times.
Okay.
We are, like.
Why don't I prepare something and you guys can take a look, and if you're good with it, I'll release it.
Well, Graham, do we not have a COVID planning policy?
Yeah, you guys approved it last meeting.
Right.
Now, there might be some details in there that are public release worthy. But again, I can come up with something. This isn't rocket science. Again, I'd like to see yours just as a formatting example, but I'm sure we can come up with something. And I'm sure you guys spent a lot of time on yours. And rather than reinventing that, it would be nice to see something.
Yep.
Okay. AMM convention, questions from ministers.
So we did get a correspondence from AMM, considering it's online this year. Typically, there's the option for the attending people to have a Q&A session with the representatives from the province, the ministers. The RCMP also sent us a letter, it's not in there, but we received it just today, with the same MO, basically, if you have questions, let us know so we can answer them. And that's how they're going to be addressing it this year. So if you do have something you want to run by the ministers, let me know. I can prepare a correspondence to them. The RCMP, the same question.
One of the things I found out a while ago, a couple of questions, maybe something you can ask. We're losing our community constable for the Paw. He's getting moved to Fisher Branch. So that was always, I thought, a really good thing, especially for schools, because often having a liaison officer, it just never worked, right? Like, you give it to somebody and then, they're on nights, so no, they got vigilated overtime. So having somebody to kind of make those connections with community groups we finally had a presence there. I know the RCMP and Brent and whoever before him was really happy. So that person now, I didn't even think that could happen. I thought they were here. But apparently there's a community constable position there in Fisher Branch, so that's where that person's going. So I don't know the history on it, but I'm pretty sure that the Paw qualified and for that position. It wasn't just like it just was made up. And so we obviously got a person. So are we going to get another person? Because I heard they're pretty hard to come by.
Well, the province pays for that position, our community doesn't know.
Well, they're like any other RCMP member I heard, except they're basically a month short at that level.
Yeah, they're not an actual
No.
constable.
And we don't pay for it.
Eh?
We don't pay for it.
No, the province pays to have it indicated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're losing, because I know this person was
See,
doing,
The sad part to this is that had you not said it, we wouldn't have known, right? So you would think that someplace along the way, Brent or the province or whoever would say, you're losing your community constable because he's one of the Fisher Branch or whatever, and we need more. So you would think.
you'd think. So, you'd think. So, yeah, so that's a question for me, like, like I said, I never ever thought I thought that was our position. but that
Well,
was-
and having that position in the community was good, because he's going to school, talk to the kids, do whatever, and do the footwork, all that sort of stuff.
Proactive
Yeah,
stuff that you
proactive.
never get a chance to do.
That's unfortunate.
So,
Okay,
We
I
should-
don't know if anybody else has any other questions for the minister. I personally don't have any.
Well, there's nothing else to ask. The only other one, I guess, is going back to Cullen, I guess, the minister and his cohort there, Owen, is it? Owen somebody? On the
Minister
CSO program? Right?
On the CFO agenda?
Yeah. Well, should we entertain the thought of talking to Cullen again this year about it? We still need the ministerial approvals that we haven't
Well,
got yet.
at this point, we just need to prepare our own agreement to be signed, approved by council, and then sent to the province for signing. So it's on my list of things to do. It's just there's some costing to do with in terms of the position itself and some other associated fill-ins. And we have a blank, so it's on my list to do. It's just it keeps sliding down as things start on fire.
But we should still nudge Cullen to,
I don't think he's going to be a real holdup on this at this point. I mean, it's preemptive to give him a hard time when we haven't applied.
well, that's true.
Can you see Chad is still on that?
Chad, you here? Councilor Zelinski, are you still here?
Yeah, you bet, I'm here.
Carrie, you're here?
No, Carrie, it dropped for Carrie and she can't connect.
Now, I know one of the questions we had asked before was whether there was any COVID funding related to
It's not just
the
a phone.
position. And I guess they kind of answered that.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It's a little bit outside the
It's
story.
vague, but it's, yeah.
Okay, well, if you have any questions for the ministers, maybe deadline is October, or pardon me, November 19th.
I have to say that.
So we'll get them to you.
Please do.
Alrighty, I don't think there's anything else for the open meeting. I think there's a couple things for in camera. That's it.
So resolved that we do not move into the camera portion of the committee as a whole with Mayor Jakes in the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
Alright.
We had 6 viewers.
Oh, double.
Wow.